Okay, welcome, Mog Senior High School. We're here for Lesson 2, Elements of Communication for Oral Communication Subjects. So, in this class, I have four classes. I have four sections. The grade 11, Peterson, Humes Peterson, grade 11, um, Humes Trotsky, grade 11, ABM Bezos, and grade 11, ABM Jobs. So for now, we have to proceed to lesson 2, elements of communication. So what I need to know, in this lesson, you are expected to discuss the elements of communication, explain the roles of each element in the communication, and perform an actual conversation involving the elements. So what's in? Okay, for in your separate notebook, this is for lesson 2, first activity. Activity 1, lesson 1, lesson 1 taught you to the nature and process of communication. Learning those topics has paved our door to better understanding of the essence of communication, and that is to understand and to be understood. Write down the best things you learned from lesson 1. Write your answers on your communication activity notebook. So separate notebook or in your separate paper, just like a reminder, just like what I told you, do not um, just throw your outputs later on aside that you will pass it to me. Um, in a soft copy, I'll be collecting all your hard copies at the end of the semester. So activity 1, answer what are the things you have learned in lesson 1. Okay, so this is technically a review. So, what's new? Activity 2, in a separate notebook. Picture analysis. Look at the image, answer the questions that follow. Write your answer on your communication notebook. So, picture analysis. So, this is the picture. Try to analyze what is happening in the picture. There is this little guy, and this is an older guy. All right. So, analyze the picture and then answer the questions in your separate notebook. What have you observed in the image above? Um, what do you think is the scenario? How do you call that conversation? Can you identify the sender of the message? What could his message be? Can you identify the receiver of the message? What could his reply be? What do you think is the relevance of this message to the next topic? So this is gonna be a picture analysis. So that's activity 2. Now, what is it? Let's have the discussion on elements of communication. So, what are the elements involved in the communication process, be it in the sample image shown or any given communication context? So, communication is composed of elements that help us better understand its process. So, study the illustration below. So, there is an illustration. Here is the. Oh my goodness, wait, where is that? Alright, no, let's go back. Here. Okay, so the image or the illustration below, there is this lady or woman talking, and there are three people there. So there are here the message, the sender, the encoding, the channel, the feedback, the noise barrier, the receiver, decoding, context, noise barrier. Okay, so that is the illustration. Now, the elements of communication, let us discuss briefly each of the elements shown in the illustration. You have to remember that every element has its own importance that greatly affects effective communication. So, first element here we have the sender. All right. The sender is also known as the source of the message. Of course, he is responsible for putting meanings, he is responsible for um, what to say. He is the origin of the message. All right. Next, we have the message. The message is the information, ideas, or thoughts conveyed by the speaker. So, the sender, whatever he will say or she will say, will be the message for the other party. Okay, the message is composed of different ideas, composed of different words that was being or were being composed by the sender. Now, encoding. Number three, this is referring to the process of converting the message into words, actions, or other forms the speaker understands. So, of course, it's like when we are using the computer, we are encoding. So when we encode, there are words that will appear in the screen, and the same idea in this encoding process. The sender is encoding a message in his brain and then try to, come up or compose something that he wants or she wants to talk to the other party. The channel, number four. The channel is the medium or the means, such as personal or non-personal, it's like face to face or not face to face, verbal or non-verbal. So, in other words, the channel is the way. Okay, it is the way how the message will go to the next party. Okay, decoding is the process. Number five is the process of interpreting the encoded message. Of course, this is not the time for the receiver to try to understand what is the message all about. Decoding, trying to understand, it's the element. Number six is the receiver. Of course, in the word itself, receiver, he receives the message, the encoded message, and then he will decode the message to understand. Okay, now once he decoded the message, he already understood the message. Number seven is the feedback. The feedbacks are the reactions or responses or information by the receiver. Okay, meaning um, he will now respond to the message of the sender if he understood or did not understand at all. So that's the feedback. It will depend on how he understood the message. Context. The context is the environment where the communication takes place. All right? It is a communication situation, meaning it's like a setting. All right? It is a setting where the communication happened. It's a place, it's the time and place, where it happened, what time it happened, and so on. That's the context. Of course, we have here another element is the barrier. The barriers are called noise in communication. These are the factors that affect the flow of communication. Yes, it's like barrier, very very familiar when when this pandemic really happened, and we have this in motorcycle, very controversial barriers for motorcycle riders, just to prevent the spreading of the virus. The same thing here in communication. The barrier, it prevents the understanding, or really prevents the communication, the cycle of communication. So most common of it is the noise. Okay, so all right, so we have those elements. So what are those elements? We have nine elements, right? So we have sender, message, encoding, channel, decoding, receiver, feedback, context, and barrier. So what's more? Let's proceed. Activity 3, find the elements. So read the sample telephone conversation below and afterwards identify the elements found in the conversation. Write your answer in your communication notebook. So this is the conversation. So a telephone conversation of JJ and JM. So JJ and JM. Here is their conversation. JJ. Hi JM, how are you? Hi JJ, I'm fine. I did not see you practice today. Yesterday. I went to the library to do research of our project. Can I ask to help? Sure, what can I do? Please give the Please give the meaning of the difficult terms in the story. Alright, no problem. I will use our um, dictionary to find the definitions. Thank you, JM. I will see you tomorrow in school. Bye. You're welcome, JJ. Bye. So here, answer in your separate notebook. Identify the elements found in the conversation above. Identify the sender, encoding, message, receiver, decoding, channel, context, feedback, barrier. Right? Next, what I have learned. Alright, so this is an exciting activity. Okay? Activity called Wrap It. Find and wrap it. Find the mystery words by solving the questions first. The mystery word can be formed by picking out the placement of the letter being mentioned and put them together once the mystery word is or formed. Do the rap. Write your answer on your communication activity notebook. So, the questions here is on the left side, and then the example question number 1, then answer, then placement of the letters. So identify, if you know the answer, try to identify the placement of the letter so that the mystery letter will be answered, and then later on put them together to form a word, and then that's the time you'll make a rap, do the rap with that word. So example, these are the factors that affect the flow of communication. Number 1, of course, the answer, these are the factors, so the answer is barriers, right? It's the placement of letter, so fifth letter in the word barrier, so Barriers. So it's the fifth word of that, it's letter Barri. So that's letter I, Mr. Right? I don't know, just double check. Mystery letter, it's I, so mystery letter I, and then so on. Once you have identified the mystery words in bold letter, answer that, make a rap. So I think we could skip the rap part later on, or we will just um, reserve that for an activity if time will come. It's okay for us to have the face to face, or we'll do an alternative for that for your rap. I know you really like rapping. Do the rap. Now let's proceed. Okay, so oh, where where are we are what we are okay. Alright, let's have some difficulties here. Okay, let's proceed to this one. What can I do? Alright, so once you're done with your mystery word, proceed to what can I do. Activity 5, pair up, mock up, speak up. Choose your partner. You're going to present a mock up telephone conversation that could have possibly occurred in different places, time, occasions, and situations. Be um, sure to integrate the different elements involved in the communication process. Write your scenario and script and communication activity notebook. So you don't need to pair a mock up here with your classmates since we don't have the face to face. Try to ask your probably a sister, a mother, your father, or maybe your brother. So, but it is not necessary anymore. Just what you would do here is you will write a script, okay, a script of your conversation, your telephone conversation. You can use your mother, your father in that script for your conversation. Then the instruction, um, you pick which telephone scenario are you going to perform. Ooh, so here, boy and girl courtship, which I think you will really choose. You're into this. You have housemaid, houseboy reporting an incident to the boss. You can choose here, huh? Okay, husband and wife quarreling over the phone. A call from a classmate you don't like asking for an assignment. Or I'll give you freedom to choose what scenario you want. Okay, if you cannot think of anything, you can choose from these scenarios. Two, you are given 5 minutes to prepare a script, which is not possible. You have all the time to prepare for your script. Practice your lines, familiarize the scenario, maintain social distancing while doing the activity. You are given 2 minutes only to present the mock-up call. One you will be one of you will be spokesperson to share the activity to the class. So all I need here in this activity is your script. Beyond that, no more. Okay, script for two, huh? Beyond that, not for more. Okay, so we will just have this one later on if in case it is possible to have a face-to-face or with the use of the technology. We will have this activity for you. Okay, now let's proceed. Assessment activity 6, complete me. Complete the table with necessary information about the lesson. Write your answers. So elements of communication, definition, example. Okay, so write how many elements do we have. Remember, there are 9 definitions of them and then example. Right, so self-checking, great job, you have completed lesson 2 successfully. Before going to the next lesson, check the icon that best shows your activity experience. So again, self-check, have this activity. Okay, and then additional for this one, reflect and answer. Write your reflection in your communication activity notebook. So the same thing what you did in your first lesson, you have your reflection. Okay, so answer that, and we're done. All right, so thank you for watching and listening for lesson 2 of this activity. Grade 11 Humes, Trotsky, Peterson, and grade 11 ABM, Bezos and Jobs. I'll give more instructions, further instructions in our group chats later on. And then um, if you're done with your lesson 1, you have to submit as based on what I had given instructions earlier. And then if you're not yet done, just continue the answer, and then um, we will now proceed to lesson 2. Okay, thank you and good day.